Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated, we're missing something very important. In biblical Hebrew, the word translated as hate means loving someone less. What if most of the things you knew about the Bible were just the tip of the iceberg? What if you suddenly realized that by learning biblical Hebrew, you could take your personal Bible study or congregational teaching to a whole new level? Our biblical Hebrew course will empower you to understand the Bible in ways you never thought possible. We will accompany you on this exhilarating journey of faith and discovery until you succeed and are able to transfer much of this knowledge to others. Experience the Bible as it was meant to be read and discover its hidden treasures. We have 12 spots in our next study group. There is no reason under heaven why you should not secure one of those spots for you. The Bible does not need to be rewritten, but it needs to be reread. Did you know that
Shalom, Akim and Akwa. This is your brother Azariah. I want to start by giving all the praise, all the honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the true name of the Most High God, and doing so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world knows as Jesus Christ, who we know His true name to be Yahweh Shai, who is the Hamashiach. Alright? And disclaimer, I've been a little bit under the weather. Anyone that's talked to me know I've been a little bit under the weather as of recent. It will be all good, Yahweh willing. And so if you hear any coughs, which you will during this lesson, I apologize ahead of the time in advance. We're going to power through this one, though. It's pretty quick and to the point, right? As you've seen with the lesson, really, there's a couple things beyond just the whole, going into the Romans 9 and 13, trying to justify, or not trying to justify their means of doctrine in terms of why the Most High God hates Esau like He doesn't hate Esau. And there's a reasoning behind it, more than what meets the eye. At the end of the day, that's just what it is. But I've noticed also, it's really a means of, Christian pastors to just look and obviously dabbling, understanding, because it says Israel Biblical Studies, right? This little advertisement, try to help quote unquote ministers, get they reading, they studying, comprehension game up, and to really use it in combat to deal with what they would call Hebrew Israelism. So it's hilarious, but that's the type of things that now, there are more quote unquote Christians, right? Self-proclaimed Christians, what we know it to be, that are studying more and, being more equipped to, if you're not studying certain areas, they can hit you with certain questions, and if you're not prepared, it could get you, So we've been seeing that more and more, and it's going to increase. But they're trying to use it as a means to go into the Hebrew to show you the real definition of meanings of words. And of course, they would start out with Romans 9 and 13, a trademark, Romans 9 being a trademark Hebrew Israelite go-to chapter, if you will, especially when it comes to specifically on the topic of dealing with the matter of, can all nations be saved or receive salvation? It's definitely a go-to, and it's the one that even Christians at this point know. People that study Christianity, they know that if they encounter a Israelite, someone who understands they're an Israelite, they know they're gonna more than likely encounter that verse. But even still, there's nothing they can do about it. So they can only try to justify it. So you see the guy here, putting in his lesson, did you know that hate means love less? And now there's a discussion to make you think that the Most High God does not indeed have hate for Esau, like true hate, not that He loves Jacob less. Thus, trying to help their cause. Our salvation is for everybody. We're gonna deal with that right now, and let the word of the Most High God be true, and let every man be considered a liar. So let's deal with this real quick. In Romans 9, right, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So when we go, I'm gonna go into that interlinear because we're dealing with the Greek right here. Again, Salakia, y'all. Let's go to the have I hated. Right? Now, if you just look at by the definition right here, outline of biblical usage, hate, pursue with hatred, detest, to be hated, and to test. All right, now there is more than that, right? We'll scroll down the definition. To detest, persecute by extension, to love less. Right. We see that there, to love less. But we know that we got to use context. We have to use, and there's a lot of things that they would pull out, right? People proclaiming in Christianity to, use context in the Bible, especially when Israelites would bring out a verse, right? And they would say, oh, you got to go into context because they didn't see that. And now they're trying to finally, hopefully come to an answer by reading the Bible that it would change what was written. But when someone pulls out a verse and using it correctly, it doesn't matter where you read or where you start from because it's going to mean the same. That's why you just have to use it in its proper context. So, for example, right, we're dealing with hate here, and this is the hate of the Most High God towards Esau. Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. For one, it doesn't even make sense to say, you see how loved and hated is the opposite. It's two different nations that we're talking about receive the opposite, right? It would make no sense to say, hey, Jacob, I love, but Esau, I love less. What point are we proving? You know what I'm saying? What exactly is the point that we're proving here? Yeah. But I digress. All right? With that. Generally, no, but I get it because someone could go into the first thing that could go to your mind. Is let's go, for example, I believe Luke 17 and 6. Hold on. No, not Luke 7. It's not Luke 17 and 6. Give me this real quick. Hold on. And 26. Luke 14 and 26. And any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life, also he cannot be my disciple. Now, when you see the word hate here, what does this mean? Right? Same. You're going to get the same definition, same biblical outline usage. Watch. We're going to see.
Strong's G 3404, Miseo.
The Greek word Miseo, to hate, to pursue with hatred, detest, to be hated, detested. All right? That's what it goes into. And you get the same thing. To love less is in here. Now, this situation would be a love less. And it sounds like, well, no, hey, you cherry picking now, man. How do we know that? If we just reference what? The 10 Commandments, right? If we go and reference, let's go back and reference the 10 Commandments. Exodus 20. Let's go to one that everyone knows, right? Everyone uses this. No matter what branch that you're in, whatever religion, belief you have, everyone believes this, right? Exodus 20 and 12. Honor thy father and thy mother. Stop. Are you going to hate your father and your mother? And isn't your father and mother to be of your neighbors too, right? How can you hate your own people, let alone your parents that birthed you? Now, yeah, don't get it twisted. There are situations we do know, and especially with these curses that take place, that there are estranged relationships, with family members and things. Especially if you're in this walk, it's in some cases this walk could, cause a divide between you and your family. There's all different walks of life, so I'm not ignoring that. But the fact of the matter is, regardless, you're not supposed to hate your father nor your mother. You might be frustrated with them. You may even, Lord forbid, but you may not even like them. But you have to love them. And so that's where it comes to. You're going to honor, and by honoring, you also honor them. Respect. A level of reverence. See that? So you can't hate thy neighbor, right? You can't hate thy neighbor in thy heart. Back to Leviticus 19. And 17. It's fundamentals to the law, man. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. See that? So you can't hate your brother. How much more with your own parents? See that? So we have scriptures to back this up that show that the context of Luke 14 and 26 is indeed, when it comes to your father, mother, wife, children, brothers, sisters, your own life, to love less, right? You got to be able to love Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai more. That's why the greatest commandment is to love the Most High God Yahweh with all thy heart, right? You got to love Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shai with all thy heart. We have to do that. Then the second is to love thy neighbor as thyself. That's why it comes second. See? So it's the second greatest commandment. So that being said, we understand that hate definitely means to love less, because you can't even do that by law. You're violating the law. You're violating Yahweh Shai, which is the embodiment of the law, and the whole word. So dealing back to Romans 9 and 13, we have biblical proof to show that hate actually means something else. So it's the book of Malachi chapter 1 and verse 1. The burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. Verse 2, it says, I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, yet I have loved Jacob. So right, it's telling us right here that as he said, Esau is hated. He loved Jacob. And verse 3, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. So he hated Esau. And when you go into the Hebrew, right, on here, it says to hate, to be hateful of man, of God, anyone, persons, nations, God, and wisdom. This is the Hebrew. Sane.
Strong's H 8130. Sane. Sane.
Sane. Alright. So that is to be hateful. An enemy. He's considered an enemy unto the Most High. So it is different. It is definitely, the context is differently. So indeed, the hate that the Most High has for Esau is definitely the hatred that we know it to be. Not I love him less than Jacob type. Or let's go to verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the boiler of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh have indignation forever. Look at that. You see indignation. The Most High will have indignation against Edom forever. They are the mascot for this. They represent that. Right? They represent let's lock it. They represent They are the people who the Most High will have indignation against forever. Let's actually get the word indignation real quick, All right.
Strong's H2194. Za'am. Za'am.
Hebrew word za'am. All right. To denounce, to express indignation, be indignant. To have indignation, to be indignant, to be angrily indignant, to be defiant, to be abhorrent. Right? Once again, that word indignation. You'll have it over here. We're going to bring it up. Go to Merriam-Webster's. Indignation. All right. Anger, aroused by something unjust, unworthy, or mean. I mean, this is where it goes down to. Synonyms are anger, outrage, fury. Right? His anger will last on Esau forever. Notice the Most High chose Esau to be a fitted tool, a vessel of destruction. Let's go back to Romans. Go back to Romans. Right? It's the book of Romans, chapter 9. We're going to jump right back down. Right? This is where Romans is actually quoting was in Malachi. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy. And I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy. You see? He just chose, it wasn't, and it's not like this is the Most High chose it. This is what Esau was fitted to be. Verse 21, hath not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? What of God willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? See? That's what he's saying. Esau is a vessel fitted for destruction, along with others. But we're dealing with, hey, does the Most High actually hate Esau? According to the scriptures, he does. If he didn't, the book of Obadiah wouldn't even exist. Right? The book of Obadiah, chapter 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have a rumor from Yahweh, an ambassador sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Right? I'm going to jump down to verse. Yeah, just keep it going. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. See that? Verse 6, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevailed against thee, that they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Lakia, shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And the mighty men, O L.I.T.Y, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. To the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter, for the violence against thy brother Jacob. Shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Just like his indignation is against this people forever. Right? And you can finish reading the rest of this upon your own time, brothers and sisters. We know how it goes, right? Let's read verse 17. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness. That's where it's going to be for Jacob. And the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken it. And we could keep going, but that's really what it is. That's really, there's no reason to keep it going dealing with this topic. Esau is hated by the Most High. That's just what it is. Now, for all the atrocities, the slaughter that they've committed. Now, we're not saying you get run around with hatred, but hey, everything is controlled. There's a balance for everything. There's a balance for everything. You definitely got to walk around in love as a brother in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. We have to walk around in love, in the spirit of love of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. When it comes to these vessels like Esau, such, the wrath is going to come upon Esau. The Most High does indeed hate Esau. And that's just what it is. That's what scripture displays. And there's more to go into with that, but I just wanted to keep it simple and straight to the point. You know, the guy was totally just going off. Of course, you know, and again, this was, you know, more, you know, trying to push content, you know, in the sense to try to get them to join the, you know, academy, whatever the case may be, to push, hey, you know, some sort of false understanding and knowledge for perceived Christians. And then maybe they could even combat, you know, other Israelites teaching, you know, the aspect of this. But the truth is the truth. Can't be denied. Give me a second real quick. There you go. Sirach 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. Stay strong in this thing, brothers and sisters. Endure it unto the end. You know, truth is truth. If we're an enemy because we tell the truth, then, you know, all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And with that, I want to give all praises, honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth that are learning and or teaching this gospel in truth and sincerity. The water for bearing with me, you know, coughing all over the place and whatnot. All right. Till next time, y'all willing, Akim and Nakwath. Shalom.